Recorder here. Welcome to my Monster Hunter Wild, or my take on the Monster Hunter Wilds, or my review on it, however you like to word it. Um, Long story short, I think the game's good. In case yeah, it's got some problems, but overall, I think it's a good experience. Um, by getting into it, try to keep myself at least somewhat on topic and not rambling. Like my Spider-Man review, I got a few bullet points I'd like to go over. Just the story, or yeah, start with story and then go into combat, monsters, the exploration slash environment, and the armor and weapons. I'd personally like to go over. Um, Starting with story, thought the story was good. I didn't mind it. Nada kind of grew on me. Didn't hate the kid. It's not like Ava from Borderlands 3. That one just got worse as time went on. This one was like, not bad. I'm trying to think of anything else. A whole story spoilers here. Zoshia, loved it. Absolutely loved the whole premise of it. Granted, I wish they did more with it, if that makes sense, because Zoshia was in it for literally just one fighting, technically, and that was it. But I think other than that though, the story wasn't bad. I thought it was much easier for me personally to get through than the world story. Zora Madras didn't really, at least in that game, didn't really particularly catch my interest. Uh, Flagship of this one, Arkfeld. Um, since he's a big part of the story, I'll go ahead and talk about him here. Uh, Good fight. The design I didn't care for much at first, but definitely grew on me. I really like the design now. Um, I'm not too certain much about him. I mean, to be honest, I gotta talk about more about him. I won't get to the monster section, I guess. Um, on that story wise, characters were fine. Um, at least low rank stuff. Villagers were kind of neat to be introduced to. Um, I wish we learned more about the ancient civilization, like the keepers. I don't care much for the keepers, besides that they're just tied to Wyveria. Um, that's about all there is there. Uh, Other than that, I mean, story-wise, there's really. I thought I was gonna have more to talk about on this, but there's not really much to talk about there. I mean, you know, to me, I thought Sunbreak was more interesting in terms of a story. You know, I got to you get to Wyveria or the ruins for that area, and it's like, okay, it's kind of cool, but it's kind of bland. Like I don't know. Like this area looks fine. It's there's a lot of areas in the game where it's just like very monotoned. Where there's not much like color popping out. I think I saw something about settings being the case for that, so I might need to go back and change that in terms of like brightness settings and stuff. But I mean, I kept my stuff kind of default in terms of that. But yeah, no. Let's see. High rank story. I'll get to it. Um, it's okay. It was not nowhere near as good as some other ones. I feel like. Uh, got to high rank. It was kind of. I don't know. I didn't dislike it, but as one of the viewers on the stream said, he didn't. Kind of in the same viewpoint now. It's like it was past once you get to high rank, the story is just it's very quick and short, and there's not much to it, sadly. Here, we get a. I'll start talking about. I'll jump down there and fight whatever's down there in a second. Oh, new. Okay, Suwu. Where's Suyu? I think that's his name. I can't remember. I don't know that thing much, but Yeah, story-wise, eh, not bad. I particularly enjoyed the first section, but and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the future with the title updates. But as of right now, it's not bad. I know I saw some things about being a really bad Monster Hunter story. Um, I don't particularly think that's the case. But I mean, these games aren't really known for their story anyway. So the only one I need to, well, I should say the only one, but doing myself a disservice is playing 4 Ultimate. I know, well, from what word of mouth, I've heard that is the best one, and I think they definitely did a better job of doing gore in that game. Because I mean, the high rank story of gore in this, it's very quick, and I'll be honest, when it comes to Frenzy as a premise in this, they really dropped the ball in my opinion. You know, I was really looking forward to, sorry, you know, hopping into a map, which I think they could do it personally, but hopping into a map and Gore being there, and on any map, not just the tempered, just the ice shard cliffs, but he's on any map, and then like you can see the virus spread to monsters as he fights them. So like he starts fighting a monster, and then starts fighting them. And they catch the frenzy, and then either immediately after he leaves or after a set amount of time, they turn into a frenzied monster. Now I know they're supposed to have a lot less health, but like they have way less health. I mean, then again, I get that combat, but I'm not monsters. But other than that, I feel like the high rank story went by really quickly. Like it didn't take. I got the HR 40. Now, speaking of which, yeah, the HR 40 pretty quickly, and I mean it's not long at all. Um, Personally, I think I put too much time in this game already, but just put hours. I've got 83 hours. I am, uh, yeah, Hunter Egg 102. So this right moment to
Look at all our ingredients.
level up, or
We should whip
to
out
not
the
level up.
barbecue grill.
Man, I can tell I'm tired. But yeah, I feel like it was the right moment to make a review before it gets too late. Um, yeah, I think that's about all I have to say on the story. 'Cause, I mean, it's not a huge part, but it's a part nonetheless. I'd like to talk about it because I feel like the Guardian, or like the artificial monsters, is an interesting concept. And like again, I wish they my idea, and here's just my own personal thing. They should have done more monsters like Zoshia and Arkveld in this game, which I guess they'll. You know what? I guess I'll just go to the monster section next. That leads right into it. Um, Monsters this game overall good. I like them, especially the newer ones they've added. Um, let's see, Arkfield's again. I mentioned Arkfield. He grew on me. Um, New Udra was really cool. I liked him. Uthodurna, he's okay. I don't hate him, but not one of my favorites. Right now is cool. Oh, the railgun monster, railgun dragon, pretty much. Um, Zuyu was pretty cool. I like the new like cephalopod. I think the term is cephalopod. Either way, the new octopus type enemies. I think that's really cool. Um, Past that though, I like the monsters they've got in this game. Uh, Trying to think of all the ones they got. At least the ones that really stood out to me personally. I have to, from just thinking back on my experience in the first Monster Hunter game on PS2, the Yin Kutku was a trip down memory lane. Absolutely loved that fight. The Gypsy Rush was cool. Um, Great. I feel like they could do the play dead thing a little, or sell it a little bit more. You know, just to trick people into doing it. Well, it's one of those. It's sadly one of those fights where it's like, once it, once you've experienced that play dead mechanic, it doesn't, it don't phase you anymore. I think what they need to do is like have it, not do it every time, and then make it seem like you've actually finished the hunt. I think that would make those. I think that would make the play dead mechanic a little better. I don't think of any other monsters they've added in. Let's see. We'll just look up the list. Yeah, let's see. Chotacabra. I liked it. Really cool beginner monster. Cumitris, good old fire chicken. Not bad. I like Lalabrina. It's nice to see Congalala back. Balahara was cool. Dashaguma, I liked him. Jarkin was cool. Most of these I thought were just really neat monsters. Like the Guardian ones, okay. I don't hate them. Jindahada was really cool. Forgot about him. I liked him a lot. Guardian Folder. Rathium. Baganga was nice to see. Gravios. Man, I forgot how much of a pain he was to just keep bouncing off of. Gore's cool. Arkveld's cool. Overall, I think the monster roster is pretty good. Now, here to all to my 2 complaints with the monsters, though. Like I said, this isn't, just a absolutely spectacular game all around. Well, I like all these monsters. I feel like a lot of them, which I know you're bound to have some, like, the lower ranked monsters that aren't as good and stuff like that. That's bound to happen. But in this game, it seems like there's way too much of them. Because like in the past, Gore being the one exception here, because he's kind of like almost Elder Dragon-esque. I guess you could put Arkveld there. But it's like Gore and Rathalos should be on like the same, or were, or maybe they're not, but same kind of tier, Rathalos, King of the Skies, he is an apex. He's up there with technically New Udra and like Uthden and all them. He's top dog. But I feel like there's I don't know, the monster roster, it's sad to say, but you end up only really fighting in this, the only monsters you really fight out of this whole roster end up being, maybe, depending on what you want, is Jin, Ray, New Udra, and I guess Zuwu, yeah. I guess you could count him too, but really those 5. That's a maybe, and a heavy maybe. Because I'll be honest, I personally don't like much of their gear. That's just me. The only 2 I really cared for gear-wise was New Udra and Jindahad. In terms of armor and weapons too, but that's just me. Now, past them, the only ones actually worth fighting, in my opinion, is Gore and Arkveld. Their gear is leagues above the rest. You don't have to worry, it's the top tier gear. Sadly, Gore is only a rarity 7, and Arkveld is the only rarity 8 gear in this, and that includes the Guardian stuff. But it's the same thing, just slightly colored, or colored slightly differently. I feel like they could have done that a whole lot better. Because I'm going to compare it to Base World here. Base World had it had about 5 Elder Dragons to fight. It had 5 big ones, and that was 3 more than this in terms of gear that was like in-game ready, gave you a tough fight, so on and so forth. Because I'll be honest, fighting these 2, the only one I ever thought was rather difficult was a Tempered Gore. Out of these 2, and like everything else is just I would die to a dumb mistake or really just dumb mistakes. Either dumb mistake being trying to pull off a certain move, or just letting myself get caught in a chain of attacks. That was the only ways I would die. There were not many. But the point though, I think that's where this game really lacks, is the fact that Gore, it only has 2 monsters worth farming and like getting gear for at the very end, which being Gore and Arkfeld. And I'll be honest, I have Arkfeld. I've got to the point where I can just almost offset every move he does. You know, if I get in a good zone, cakewalk. Even the tempered one, you know, it's not hard. Now, my opinion about the Guardians, besides those Shia and Guardian Arkfeld, because I think the premise of them being Guardians is fine. I don't mind them, but I personally would not have done the Guardian Dashiguma, Rathalos, and Odegaard, and the Fulgur even. I wouldn't have done them. What I would have done is make like combination monsters, like weird, freaky amalgamations of stuff. Like you could have combined Odegaard with the Lunagaron, you know, or something along those lines. I think that would have been much better, because right now it's just like, oh, artificial monsters. Is like you could have played with it. It made seem like real Frankenstein-looking monsters, like a we'll say like a Rathian mixed, well, not a Rathian, but like a Rathian / Rathalos mixed with like a serpent, you know, where it's like the flying snake type of monster, where it has the you just remove Rathalos's legs and it's just like a Slytherin type that would fly out and do stuff. I think you should have done that with the Guardians, either that or more distinct monsters like Arkfeld, because just having them do those types, it's like, okay, well, we've already got Rathalos. I'm gonna count we got Rathalos, Dashiguma in the game. So that's just 2 repeat fights, in my opinion. And then they could have just added in Odegaard and Fulgur. You know, those 2 could have just been there anyways. It's not that much different. Yeah. You know, really, their fights are basically the same as they were in World. I don't think there's much difference there. But yeah, no, that's my opinion on the Guardians. I feel like a really cool concept that I think they could have done more with. I honestly wish they did more with. It'd be a lot better if they did. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about monsters. Besides being so zero, they're so zero. Oh. Sorry about that. Where was I at? Oh man, I hope that I didn't just mess up the video. Let's see. Trying to get my thoughts back together. And Socio is about the only Guardian I really truly like besides Artfield. I mean, Artfield's cool, but it's, you know, I think the Guardian thing would have been a good way to bring back more extinct monsters and lean more heavily into that. Otherwise, I think doing weird amalgamations like Socio, where it's just this like artificially created monster where it's just the complete amalgamation of different things would have been the way to go. Now, on to combat. Combat, I think is fun. To be honest, it is very, very easy compared to World, and even other Monster Hunter games. It's very easy, and it's solely because of the focus mode. Come in straight, here we go. If I can, oh, nope, too far out. But let's see. The focus mode, I feel like, is just way too easy to do, especially with Greatsword. It takes away a lot of the difficulty. Because like before, you had to commit to, you know, one direction when you attack. Now it's now you don't do that. It's literally just, oh hey, you know, any direction I want to, I can just turn and aim. I like the wounding system. The wounding system, I feel like it's fine. Yeah, I would have found another way to do the moves. Let's see. Offset. Really love offset. Love the offset attacks. I love the power clashes. I think those two are great additions, especially for Greatsword. This is mainly Greatsword talking here. Because that's all I really played. I touched a little bit of Lance, but Greatsword is my bread and butter. There you go. Get that off. Yeah. I really think it leads into power fantasy. I love the fact that the offset, like, it gives that rising slash a reason to exist, because I never really used it before. Now I will say one thing I wish they would add in as an option is, again, Rise's moveset for the Greatsword in terms of like speedy, or like slightly faster. I think it's a nice option just to change it up, because that's. But I don't know. Besides the focus mode though, because I feel like the focus mode is what makes the game too easy. Like even with Lance, I use Lance for example. Like there's no real point in not using focus mode with Lance, and like with Lance now, I can just kind of, I don't have to worry about my attacks not hitting. Like before, see what I mean? I have to worry about, oh hey, you know, I'm just going to be poking too low between his legs, so let me do this move. Now I can just kind of aim the pokes in general, and I don't have to worry about them not hitting. I don't know, I feel like focus mode makes the game way too easy. Stop. Focus adds in stuff that I do like, including the wounds. Because I'll be honest, breaking the wounds is fun. I like doing it. I think it's an interesting way to do that. That gets one another thing, like, when it comes to the wounds, they've changed the breakable parts on some things. Like, you can't break the Rathalos' head anymore. I wish you could still do that. I don't know why they took that. And it's weird things like that kind of, I don't know, I dislike. Now I don't know how the combat is for everything else, but like being able to do that is kind of weird with Greatsword. Greatsword. I know. Hold on. I just do something here. I noticed it before too. Try and get this quick. No attention to that. But yeah, no, Focus Mode, it's cool, but I feel like it makes it too easy. It's the same thing with the Rise wire bugs. Is that
You're getting paid well for that.
I know that's
one.
like the premise of the game, and I don't mind it, but it makes it to where like, oh hey, repositioning. There's not much commitment because at any point I could just zip out of the attack. While in this one, it's like, oh, at any moment, you know, for my true charge, I can do this. Instead of having to commit to this, like, oh, hey, I'm gonna hit here, then, oh, I can turn right back around and smack where I want to. Takes out the commitment to it. But other than that, I love fighting in this game. I feel like it's fun. Trying to think, it's I don't know. I don't. Besides the focus mode being too easy, or making it too, I don't want to say monotonous, but like it's close to it. You know, it's just kind of like you could. There's not much thought put into fighting. It's like, oh hey, I'm gonna hold down my L1 button the entire time. Oh, it's a gold crown. Cool. Yeah, I would hold down my left trigger the entire time and just go with that, you know, and not have to really worry about it any more than that either. But let's see. There's no way out of here. Let's take it out. Go back to the camp. Oh man. But yeah, there's that. That's my take on combat. Now I don't know how about the other weapons. Being honest, it took me a good bit to use Lance anyways, but I am a great sword enthusiast. My favorite one there. Main reason I'm not. Oh, okay. Well, get on that. Now going to the world and stuff. Environments I think are really cool. I think they got some good premises. However, again, it's like it doesn't pop. In the world I felt like I was like in the middle of like the thick of the jungle. You know, like Ancient Forest, an example. This one doesn't have that same feeling for some reason. It's just kind of like, okay. It's so-so. I don't hate it by any means. But like, I don't know. Like Oil Well Basin, I think is a really cool environment. I like the desert in this. I like them all. But there's something missing, you know. I know they got endemic life, like a giant ecosystem. I know they have that, especially with the seasons, because I like the seasons. I think the seasons are a really good mechanic. But there's just something missing. I just can't really place my tongue on it, or put a word on it. I'm trying to think of what it would be. I mean, there's... I don't know. I think it just looks muddied, if that makes sense. Nothing... I guess the colors just don't pop out as much. That'd be the only thing I'd say about it. Explored-wise, I think it's fine. I think it's good. It's I don't know, I think it relies too much on the mount. Personally, I don't hate the mount. I like old Grim over there. Don't get me wrong. He's a cool little buddy. But the game itself relies heavily on the mounts. And like, it's the same thing as Rise did. Rise was really heavily influenced by like, oh hey, movement and the palamotes to get around. Didn't hate them by any means, but they were not my. I don't know. You don't feel like you're part of it unless you like really walk around like this, you know, exploring any stuff like that. That, and I don't think you should be able to use them in combat either. I think using them as a get up and being able to sharpen my weapon, it really does take away, like, oh hey, you know, let me find a safe spot to sharpen real quick, because, you know, I mean, this takes a while to do. And I like the sharpness. I like the mechanic, it makes sense to me, but being able just to, you know, oh, I need to sharpen, let me hop on my secret and just sharpen real quick and jump off, and then get back to the fight. It, you know, it takes out the danger of having to sharpen. I'm trying to think of what else I can say about that. I don't think there's much else. Yeah, nah. Yeah, just that exploration's good. I think it relies too much on the secret to get you around places, because there's really not much reasons to not be off the secret. You know. Um. Let's see what other things could there be. Oh, onto the same thing though. Tracking for the monsters. I wish they brought that back. I do not like how they did that at all. Because in this game, once you've discovered the monster once, you know exactly where it is at all times. And like, sure, you can still find the tracks, and they just give you a piece of like a monster material. But I don't think that's a good way to do it. I'm a hunter, not, you know, not a fly catcher, I guess. You know, I'm not wanting to follow around a bunch of bugs to get to my target. Follow the green trail. You know, oh hey, I'm gonna follow my yellow brick road. Get to where I want. Don't look at anything else. You know, it take not having the tracking in like it was in World really takes away from the system, I think. Like, I didn't mind in World where, well, no, I should say I didn't mind, but I liked it in World where as you hunted the monster more and got more tracks of it, you could spot the monster more easily. But in this, it's not the case. Once you've discovered it for the first time, it's always there. And even when it was undiscovered, it would still pop up as an undiscovered monster, and you could still see it going around. I think that was a mistake. Um, let's see, anything else on tracking? Oh, well, I think they could have done would have been better. Is my buddies told me this. Um, if they is whenever you load to a map, they don't tell you what monster's on there at all. If you find the tracks, like, oh hey, I know this is here. No, I know this at least one of these things is here. You know, like, oh hey, I know there's a Cuckoo on this map, and I can go with that. And then you can start hunting that one down. But then there could be more on there. Who knows? Now, I think that would have been a better way to do it. And then like and then when you get to the point where you've hunted enough of them, or got enough tracks of them, that's when you unlock. Oh hey, you know, I found one track. Oh, I know exactly where this thing kind of pops up, or its territory is. So then you know where to go look, and it, you know, makes sense to go track it down there, and you know exactly where to look. But other than that, yeah, tracking, really big mistake not having that in this game. Same thing with the not being able to. And they still let you catch the critters, like the small little critters around endemic life in the world map, but not being able to place in your house and like keep pets and stuff like that. I think that's a really big letdown. I'm hoping they'll add that in. It should have. It's one of those things that should have been in the game to begin with. Because I mean, there's no real excuse for that, in my opinion. Let's see. Besides that, let me go on to my last topic, which is armor and weapons. Compared to base world, I think this is much better, both in terms of Ardian and the weapon design. Because we'll go with regular hunting stuff first. Um, weapons in this game look a lot better. The world had a lot of cookie cutter. You know, it would just take this one basic design and then run with it completely. To like, oh hey, you know, it's the same weapon, but here's a Rathalos part smacked down, or something simple like that. You know, Rathalos had its own sword, but I'm trying to think of like the first Nergigante great sword. It was just an axe. It was just a giant axe with some spikes sticking off of it until you got to the Rarity 8 version, to where it's like, oh wow, this is really a unique weapon. But that's just my take there. I like Great Jagras in that game. That's another weapon. But this one, all the weapons look unique, and it's not like they don't all look the same. The only ones that look similar are the Guardian ones, and which makes sense. But even then, their colors slightly differently. So I just kind of let it slide, I guess. But overall, yeah, every weapon has a unique design. Doesn't matter what, or each tree has a unique design down the trees. Now, armor-wise, I think the armor sets look good in this game. I don't like how you can mix and match the female sets and stuff. I think that's a mistake. I also don't like how the at least from what I've seen, there does not seem to be a very big distinction between the alpha and the beta sets in terms of design. Because I'll be honest, like some of them I wish would have the beta design just so I could have a different kind of color scheme and change the colors in different spots. But other than that though, armor was fine. I personally like the Arkfield set a lot. This is my custom set I made. Took the Arkfield gauntlets, the Battle Alpha chest piece and belt, ingot boots, and the Anjanath helmet. Took a while to get it colored right, but personally I like this set. This reminds me of the original Monster Hunter specifically. But no, there's a lot of the armor in this game is nice. I will say in terms of coloring the armor, this is leaps and bounds better than anything they've done. So in the past it has been like, man, I can only change this small portion of the color of the armor. And I want to change the bigger portion. It was such a pain to change the color of it, like Seregios and Rise or Sunbreak for me. Man, I wish I could change the yellow. I got used to the yellow, but it's like, man. Or the Malzeno stuff, for instance, is like, I wish I could change more of the colors. But, other than that though, yeah, I think improvement on weapon and armor. Some things I don't like, but overall, good improvements. Yeah. Overall review of this game, I think it's great. I think you should try it. Now, it does have its faults. Absolutely. There are several things I think that should have been added in to begin with or done differently. But that and the combat, I feel like this is the easiest Monster Hunter. I know it's getting a lot of flack for being like that, and people were saying this isn't. But compared to World and dear Lord, if anyone ever played the PS2 version, this is by far the easiest, and I think it more or less is attributed to the focus mode, not so much the wound system itself. You know, I think the wound is fine. I would have changed the button for wounding, or made a different combo or something. Or make it to where, like, after a certain amount of damage has been put on a wound, that's when it just automatically puts you into the focus strike that they've got going on. I'm pretty sure it's called focus. Yeah, focus slash for me. I think that once you do a certain amount of damage, whoever does a certain amount of damage to it, or gets that final hit, that's when they pop the wound. I think that would have been better. You know, like, oh hey, monster's weak. It kind of, to me, that makes more sense. Nah, don't get me wrong. I like being able to just break them whenever I want to. That's nice. But the focus mode makes this game way too easy. Because at this point, if you're gonna have this focus mode, and you're really, I don't know, most fights it feels like you're just gonna have it just your left trigger just in the entire time, or to where you just toggle it and it's just there. Like there's not much reason to get out of this mode. Like the only thing I like doing it is just cause that's how I get out of the greatsword. I just start running. So I mean but like other weapons, there's no real point in getting out of focus mode. But yeah, sorry going on right there. Overall, story was good, not the greatest, but you know, I think it's a really cool premise. I always liked their build up. To me, there's always like this secret monster towards the end, and I always liked that. And this time, me and Soshia, again, really wish they brought him back, or really wish they made him a bigger fight. I'm hoping they're doing a title update. Be a shame if they don't. Yeah, as of right now, this is before Mitsune comes out. This is before title update 1. Yeah, good game. Some questionable things I think are in this game, or some things I would have done differently, and I think would have been a better choice for the game. But that's just me. Other than that, yeah. If you let's see, I'm trying to think of how I should rate this. Um, I want to say 8 or 9 out of 10. It's not perfect. I think maybe 8. 8, somewhere between 8 and 9. I think it's good. I'm addicted to combat. I love playing it. But there's not enough challenge. Like, I really wish there was another monster. Because right now it's just like, oh, I'm just going to fight Arkfeld for the, I guess, 27th time in just a second. But, yeah. If I had to write it another way, I think it's worth a buy, in my opinion. Now, if you're not a huge, it's more faster paced than World, but not as fast paced as Rise. I don't know, if you didn't care much for the faster paced combat in Rise, maybe wait for a sale. But I mean, I personally think it's worth the $70. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I got my money's worth out of this. This was a really good game to me, even if I did have some major gripes with it. But that being said, thank you for watching the review. I hope this helps. I'm going to try and do some more reviews in the future, depending on what games interest me. Yeah, you can check out my Twitch at No Quarter. It's a N0QTR. That's all it is on Twitch. I'm trying to stream there at least a few days a week. You know, just to have. I still haven't set on an exact schedule, but that's what I'm doing there. Other than that, thank you for watching.